Hey everybody, Mike O here once again. And sadly, this is the last Ibanez session that we'll be hosting during this NAMM Believe in Music event. I've had so much fun doing these sessions with our artists, and for all of you, I hope everybody's enjoyed them. I hope you got something from them. I want to thank all of our artists that were involved: Josh Smith, Martin Miller, Laurie Basilio, John Schofield, and our last featured artist today, Mr. Jon Gomm. John and I sat down recently. This is a pre-recorded interview, but we sat down recently to talk about his new JGM models. And for those not familiar with John, John is an acoustic guitar player out of the UK. He's a modern fingerstyle guitar player, and he's helping cultivate a whole new genre of playing and players. So I can speak for everybody at Ibanez that we're immensely excited to have him as part of the team and to be producing his JGM model. So without further ado, let's go to John and I's interview. All right, John. Good to see you.
Hey man, how you doing?
Good, man. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being a part of this and the NAMM Believe in Music week that we have. Unfortunately, I think the plan was to have you in person in California at the NAMM show this year, but there is no physical NAMM show this year. So
No.
we're doing the next best thing, and we're connecting here, and we've got a lot of great things to talk about. Well, one really great thing to talk about, but also you joining the team and coming on board as an artist. And for all of the Ibanez faithful out there that might be watching who maybe not familiar with you, John, maybe you can give us a little bit about yourself and tell us what your story is.
Okay, well, I am an acoustic singer-songwriter, solo performer person. I'm kind of best known for my needlessly flashy guitar playing, which I just cover my songs with like glitter. So it's a lot of extended techniques and modern fingerstyle stuff. So I use loads of tapping and harmonics and crazy tunings and percussive stuff on the guitar. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm best known for here in England and maybe a few other places as well.
Very cool, very cool. And John, you're a student of music. You've had a long career, and you've also went to school for music, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so overly qualified. It doesn't really show all the time, but yeah. So I studied, had guitar lessons at school and was in bands and stuff, and then I studied at the Guitar Institute, the one in London, and then I studied for a jazz degree at Leeds College of Music. So yeah, I know all the theory and then avoid using it at all costs.
Nice, nice, very cool, very cool. And what from you mentioned that you went to school with jazz first, the Guitar Institute in London, and also focusing on jazz. Then later on, when did you start to really take on your the acoustic side of playing and what you do? When did
So
that kind
it's
of come
really
together?
different what I do now. It kind of evolved out of getting gigs and to be honest, trying to make money when I first started out playing shows. And I hadn't played acoustic stuff like solo for a long time. I started just doing a little bit here and there, like playing in coffee shops and bars around the city where the music college was. And gradually it kind of evolved as I started adding all of these different techniques to the sound to make it more full. So, there's techniques from flamenco guitar, but a lot from kind of the kind of technical fingerstyle guitar that was pioneered in the 80s by guys like Michael Hedges. And then it just became this kind of bigger and bigger thing, and people started to come to the bars to see me rather than to just drink. And then it gradually evolved out of there. I started touring around the country and then touring around the continent and then eventually touring all over the world. And it was all just kind of just me on my own at that point, just kind of doing pretty much everything. And I didn't have a manager or anything like that at that time, officially. So it was yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then I had a viral video, which then took everything that I kind of built and just made it like 10 times more, with a song called Passion Flower, which people may have seen. If not, then go watch it.
Yes, yes, go watch it. Go watch it. That was actually my first introduction to your playing, and that brings me up to our relationship and your relationship with Ibanez, which is we're really excited about. It's to the people. It's pretty new. We've just announced it the turn of the new year, 2021. But you and I and you and Ibanez have been working for a little bit now, some time.
Yeah,
on
I mean,
something.
I think it's like 3 years.
Yeah, it was.
So, I know it's crazy how long this project has been, but you guys did tell me when we started that it's going to be a long time. It takes a long time to develop a completely new guitar, because this isn't like a model that already existed that then I've changed a little bit with like what paintwork I want or what pickups I want or whatever. This is something that we did completely. We had a blank piece of paper when we started, which is pretty scary, but also incredibly exciting. And it's been amazing. It's been an incredible 3-year experience, and I'm really, really lucky. It's crazy that I got to do that.
Yeah, no, we're very lucky too. I remember our first meeting, at least you and I first meeting, and we also I went with my colleague Rocky Oda, and we went to come visit you in Saltaire, which I love that area. That was such a great trip, and you were talking to us about it, and you actually gave us a performance of Passion Flower live,
just in my bedroom,
just in your bedroom, and I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. Yeah.
That's so cool.
And
I'm really glad.
It just showed me, that you have this power in your performance style and in your music to transport people. And although it was in your bedroom and you were showing us you were performing the song for us, it really took me, at least I could speak for myself, it took us to another place, and it was really magical, I have to say. And you have that power. And I think at that point we were convinced. We really wanted to work on you with something. That whole day, you showed us how passionate you were about modern fingerstyle.
I really love the guitar. I really do, and it's been just a part of my life since I was a very little kid. So for me, it's the best instrument that exists, especially acoustic guitar, because of the range of sounds that you can get from this one little wooden box with strings tied to it. It's incredible what you can do. And then Ibanez is a big part of that for me, of that journey, especially when I was younger, kind of early 90s, discovering Joe Satriani and Steve Vai and others, Paul Gilbert and Frank Gambale, and the roster that was there then. For me, Ibanez was progressive guitar. That was it. And I loved it so much. I couldn't afford to get the guitar that I really wanted, which was a gem at that time. I ended up getting a Washburn N2, which is, if I'm allowed to mention other companies, because it was just a friend of mine was selling one, and I love Nuno, so I got that. But then after about 6 months, I didn't really like the neck on it, so I bought a gem neck with the vine going up it, and just bolted it on, just using the holes that were there in the first place. I didn't even check the intonation, and it was like perfect. It was just, I don't know why, but it just really worked. So I had this weird hybrid guitar with the Ibanez logo on the headstock, which was really something I really wanted to have, just that brand, my journey with the guitar, Ibanez is a big part of it, it really is.
That's so cool. That's so cool to hear, and it's cool to hear that you had a fondness of the brand even before we started working on the JGM model, which you're holding a prototype right now. That is the JGM.
Yeah,
I would love to.
This one's a little bit kind of. I've been experimenting a little bit with this one. So I put some scratch pads on this one, which I'm just experimenting with, because I don't know if I want to scratch up the paintwork or not yet. Yeah. I haven't decided, because people who've seen me play will know that sometimes I scratch the guitar to get certain sounds. So these scratch pad things are quite common. I never used them before, but a lot of guys do. I don't know. I'm just experimenting with this prototype at the moment. Even the pickup that's in here, I just had to fit this myself. So Fishman sent over the pickups, and I just had to install it myself. So yeah, it's all. This one's kind of a work in progress. This one, but
Yeah.
yeah. So the finished final model. There's some very slight tweaks that we made from this prototype, and it's kind of embarrassing a little bit because most of those tweaks between this, which is the last prototype, and the final model that we're developing, are changes that I actually asked for, and then I was like, no, they were wrong, and I was really scared about sending that email through to Masashi in Japan and saying, oh man, you know those things that you spend months building for me, yeah, we need to take those out. It was, but you know, you can't make an omelet without breaking stuff.
Without breaking some eggs. Yeah, well, you know, that's fine, but I think we spent, you know, as much time as we needed to get it right, and we did a lot of
Oh my
samples,
God.
and
Yeah.
from what I understand, I think we really hit the nail on the head, and I'd like to spend a little bit of time now. We'll dive into, you know, what we did
Yeah.
with the JGM, and if you would probably be better than me to explain it all. So why don't we start with the body, because
Okay.
that's the big part of the sound of the acoustic guitar.
Yes. So everything that we talk about is going to be something slightly crazy. So because the thing is that there really aren't progressive guitars out there that are built for modern fingerstyle guitar. I mean, there are, but they're being handmade by luthiers for $20,000. So, you know, and they make like 6 a year or something. So it's that world that I wanted to, you know, look at and say, right, how do we make a version of that that's mainstream, just so that people can have it, you know? And so the body, it's a fairly big body. It's like a modern jumbo shape, which is probably the most common size that's used for modern fingerstyle, because without it you can't get that kind of really, those really low bass notes. And it's I had this crazy idea, which was to build an asymmetrical body. So I don't know if you can see inside, but the brace there is at a weird angle because the body isn't symmetrical, and that was something that was just inspired by Ibanez and the way they took, for example, with the JS model. You have, like, if you think of a Stratocaster and then think of a JS, it's kind of slightly melted. It's just slightly warped, just very slightly, so it still looks classic and cool, but there's something unique about it which is really special. And then for acoustic guitar, it works great because if you decide that the guitar doesn't have to be symmetrical, and there's no reason that it should be in physics, for the sound, then you can change it so that you can move bits so that they're easier to reach for the percussive sounds. They're easier to get to. So, and then the bracing inside, I literally sent over a load of sound samples of just the best guitars in the world. Those kind of $20,000-$30,000 handmade guitars that I was telling you about. And I sent those over to the guys in Ibanez, and they listened to them all. And Masashi sent me a little email back saying, this will be a challenge. That's all he said. And then a couple of months later, I met with you guys over here in the UK, and you had the very first prototypes. Oh no, that was the second stage prototype with the bracing pattern that they developed, and it was just amazing. You know, really, really amazing. Yeah, so it just sounds incredible with this body. Yeah.
That was. I mean, for people when they first, I think that's the first thing people will understand once they get to play one. Is just the sound that is projected from the body, and
Yeah.
for you as a player, for a guitar to work for you, it's not just about the guitar itself. It's just in conventional playing. I mean, you do so much percussively. I mean, you're almost a one-man band with your instrument. So maybe
Yeah.
you could talk about. You mentioned the bracing earlier. Maybe you can mention how we or how you came up with bracing, or the different experiments we made with the bracing to get the best overall percussive sounds out of the instrument.
Well, it's about leaving areas of resonance. So, in fact, I want to talk about the bracing. I want to show you one other thing that's weird that you can just see because you can't see the bracing inside. So, right here is the bridge, and this is offset slightly at an angle, which was just this idea I had to do that. If you've ever seen a fan fret guitar, whether it's electric or acoustic, often the bridge is offset at an angle, and this is offset at a very slight angle. And the guitar isn't fan fret, it's just that you can do that because the saddle is compensated in that direction anyway. And it just opens up a bit of space here, and this place is very often that's where we do our kick drum. So if we're doing a kick drum sound, it's often there, and having this slightly bigger area not only makes it easier to do without hurting yourself hitting the bridge, but it sounds better because the wood's a little bit more open there. So there's all kinds of things we did like that, just to tweak the shape, tweak the bracing, tweak the outside of the guitar to give just a slightly nicer playing surface for any percussive techniques. Yeah, but even if you don't do percussive techniques in your playing, this that isn't essential to want this guitar, because all those little changes, it's like they alter the tone, they open everything up and give you this kind of huge bottom end, these sparkling harmonics at the top. So it's the range of sound really that you're looking for. So you have that piano quality with the big low grand piano bass and the tinkling little high harmonics. So yeah, that's what we were looking for with the guitar.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the bridge too. I wanted at least feature that. And another cool feature though with the instrument and the construction of the instrument itself. And this was kind of I remember us first talking about this, maybe in the first meeting that, or at least I was involved with, in terms of how, with your style of playing and modern fingerstyle playing, a lot of people, including yourself, are taking maybe more electric guitar techniques into and featuring that. And you talked about neck construction. I thought that was fascinating. I never heard that from an acoustic player before. So maybe you could spend a little time talking about the neck.
So the neck, there's various things about it. So one thing is the width of the neck. So it's moving towards like a classical width, and it just gives you a wider playing surface because we're kind of doing complex fingerstyle here, and it can be you can kind of have your fingers colliding into each other a lot. So having that slightly wider spacing is really common on modern fingerstyle instruments that are custom built. People ask for that, and that makes it a lot easier to play. The neck itself needs just to be as stable as possible. We tried a few different things. So we tried a baked neck. It's like a cooked, roasted, I don't know, there's so many terms, like a maple that's been incinerated for a long time. So it's really, really rigid to improve the tuning stabilities, because I use loads of different tunings, but it actually didn't make very much difference to the tuning stability. One thing that blew my mind is that the body wood, so this one is made of pau ferro, which is a beautiful wood. I chose it just blind testing. I don't think you were there that day, but I just had like 8 or 10 guitars that were all made with different back and side woods, and just tried them all with my eyes closed. Do you know what I mean? And this wood just sings, but also because it's very, very dense, it doesn't move. And it shocked me how much, if you change the tuning on the guitar, the body contracts from the tension on the strings. So having a rigid wood here makes a huge, huge difference to that. The neck is this kind of 5-piece, like you might see on a 3-neck bass. So it has the stripes, which look really, really cool, but they give it this extra stability. And then the thing that I remember telling you about when we first met, and you thinking that was really strange, is the frets. So we have stainless steel frets. Again, if you buy I don't know of that in an acoustic guitar before. I've never seen it, except if you buy the guitar that like my peers use, that they've had handmade for a lot of money, they will use stainless steel frets. And the reason for that is that you might be, for example, tapping harmonics, and they give a completely different tonal quality. People always ask me how you get them so loud, and you kind of cheat. You use the right frets. So they're a little taller, they're stainless steel, which is much louder. And then if you're doing this, you might be playing a melody in the left hand, which is just hammer-ons. So in order to do that without having to, be like a bodybuilder with your fingers or something, having slightly taller, harder, louder frets, it's just your cheat code for those techniques. It really, really is. And that's why everyone can do it and you can't. So, all the guys that you see on YouTube. So I really, yeah, that's something we included. I think that's probably my neck. I mean, the woods, we've got mahogany with power ferro stripes and Mikasa ebony fingerboard. And then my favorite little touch is the glow in the dark fret dots. You can't see that right now, but kind of have to charge them up in the sunshine. But they're really a lifesaver on stage sometimes, my word.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Excellent. No, that's cool. Yeah, they're very, very new for us, having the laminate neck in that way. And it was very
Uh-huh.
cool. Very cool to hear you, cite that stuff. And you reminded me about the steel frets too. Yeah, I was kind of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
wow.
remember?
Very cool. And then we have a new headstock shape too on the JGM.
Yeah, I drew that.
Yeah.
I, yeah, I drew it on my touchscreen laptop that my mom got me for my birthday that year. And to be honest, they refined it a little bit because it was a bit scratchy around the edges. I'm not a graphic designer, but it is pretty much what I drew. And what I was trying to do was get the Ibanez swoop with the so it's offset here, so it's the wrong. No, not wrong with it. You know what I mean? It's like they're not the same height here, and then you have the kind of swoop here with the little bit taken out of it on the standard Ibanez, headstock that I associate most strongly with Ibanez.
Uh-huh.
So we did that, but instead of it being a big thing sticking out with a little groove, we've just made it, a lot more subtle, like a wave. So it's a bit, we have to remember this is an acoustic instrument, so.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that it came out. I mean, looking at it too, seeing you hold it, it looks so cool. And another special thing about, I remember, going back to our first meeting and when you were playing Passion Flower for us in your room, you also explained to us your output, and how the guitar, how
Oh
you
yeah.
have three separate signals going out. And it'd be great if you can fill us in on what we're doing with the JGM10 and the output.
Yeah, okay. This was the hardest part of the development. And it was just this. I tried so many pickups. Oh my God. I went to a recording studio that has a rehearsal room with a full live PA with subs. So I could really test every system. And I had this tech. I just hired him for like 2 days, and he was just changing pickups every like half an hour. He'd bring me a guitar with some different pickups in it. It took so long, and eventually, we figured this system out. So thankfully, Fishman had just come up with this new little device. So we included that at the 11th hour. So it saved the day. So what we have is a three-source system. So there's a humbucker here, which basically does the job of hearing the sound of the strings. There's a little condenser microphone inside, and that's a system called the Rare Earth Mic Blend that Fishman do. And then they have this new thing called the Power Tap, which is a sensor. It's a vibration body sensor which goes on the bridge inside. So it's stuck to the wood inside, basically. So it's not an undersaddle pickup or anything like that. And those body sensors are really important for the bass, for the sub kind of resonant frequencies, both of the body and the strings. And then what we have is this system I have two cables coming out of here right now. Now what you can do with this system, you can just take one cable and plug it into one socket, and you will get a mixture of all three pickups. And there's a little control here there's two controls for turning up like the different pickups. So you can just use one regular guitar cable and have all three pickups and just blend them inside the guitar and plug it into your amplifier or whatever and go. Or you can plug in a stereo cable, and that'll send one pickup down one side and two of the pickups down the other side. Or you can plug in two separate cables like I do, and then you get all three sources inside the guitar all coming out separately, which is what I do. And to be honest, what every professional modern fingerstyle artist does is that we have all like if you're using two or three, or some guys even use four different pickups inside the guitar, you have them all coming out at once. And then that way, because I've got all three coming out at once, I can plug it into a little mixer and mix them together add the EQ or whatever I want to the different ones. And yeah, so that's kind of the holy grail. And you don't know how much, not just for building this guitar, but over the past 20 years or so, how much time I have spent trying different pickups in different ways. I've had like at points like 3 different like batteries inside the guitar or preamps. It's just a mess, you know, and everybody is using different systems and mixing them together, and it's just out of necessity. And to have a system which is designed for this style of playing, which you can use straight on the guitar straight away, has never really happened before. So yeah, not to my satisfaction by any means, nowhere near. So this to me is like just fantastic.
Wow, that's cool. That makes me really want to get one in my hands and start checking it out and getting all the different sounds.
Yeah,
It's
you won't believe the sounds that can
yeah.
come out of it. You won't believe the sounds because you've got 3. It's not like 3 pickups you have in an electric guitar. You've got 3 things that do completely different jobs. They hear completely different parts of the instrument. So it's like what I would call a 3-dimensional sound. It's so rich and deep and just multi-layered. Yeah, you should try it.
Excellent, excellent. Well, yeah, that covers a lot of the guitar, John. We went through
Uh-huh.
quite a bit of it, and you were gracious
Okay.
enough to ask some of your fans
Oh
if
yeah.
they had any questions. So I pulled a few of them, and if you want, let's go. Let's see. I think we covered
Let's
a
do
lot.
it.
We covered some of it in what we just discussed, but there's some other ones maybe we haven't. So let's start with
Okay.
this guy, and this
Uh-huh.
is Wit Acoustic. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. Wit Acoustic asks woods, scale length, and well, pickup system we just talked about, but maybe you can go run down on the woods.
I can't remember the scale length off the top of my head, but I think actually maybe I can. 25 3/4 inches. It's a
Yeah,
tiny,
yeah,
tiny bit longer
that
than you would expect on a regular scale length. A tiny bit, so that it doesn't feel, different. You're not going to not be able to play any chords that you can play, but it just gives you a little bit more um, bass, in particular the fundamental of your bass note. So whatever bass note you're playing at the time, we're always fighting as guitarists to hear the actual lowest frequency of that note and not just overtones. So yes, that's the scale length. The pickups I just talked about, and then he asked about the woods. So
yeah.
the top wood is a thermo-aged Sitka spruce. So with a thermo aging, what I find is that it makes the guitar sound about kind of 20 years old on average, which is pretty amazing. I found that the guitar still takes time to settle. So when you buy one new, it's still not going to sound how it's going to sound. You need to play it for a couple of months and play it as much as you can. But then the sound that you get then is like this aged sound, and then your guitar is much more stable over its lifetime. It's not going to. I don't know how much it'll age. We'll see. I'll ask me in 20 years. And then the back and sides are this wood called Pau Ferro, which is from Mexico, and it's a kind of a dense hardwood. The coloration is somewhere between mahogany and rosewood, and it's often really heavily grained. It's really pretty, and the sound is kind of dark and just like I don't know. It's so hard to describe the sound of a wood, but it's really rich. It's really really rich. Rosewood I can find to be too much like you've just put a mirror inside the guitar and everything just bounces straight out,
Mm.
uncolored by the wood. Mahogany, I love mahogany, and I nearly chose the mahogany one, but it was just a bit too soft for the sound that I was trying to create with the guitar. It was a bit too old-fashioned almost. So I chose this one, and it is gorgeous as well. So yeah, that's the woods.
All
And
right.
there's bits of ebony here and there just because, it's yeah, it's a really nice guitar.
Excellent. All right. I think, let me see one more question.
Uh,
And this was from, let me pull this one up. This was from Jarvis Blake, I believe, on Instagram. And he asks, how does the pickup handle percussion and tapping?
that's true. 'Cause I have literally in the past year tried every single one that I know of. Oh my God, we tried everything. And yeah, so I'm confident this is pretty much as good as it can possibly get. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Now, let me look one more. Let's see. We have. Okay, I got some. This one meant something to me because it's something I always do, so it resonated with me. This question was Dallas J. Sutherland asks, "What does it smell like?"
Uh, you know what? I forgot. I've had them for a while. They lose some of the. It doesn't smell as strongly now as it did when you first got it, but it does. It has a really nice. I guess now you're just smelling the wood rather than the glue. When you first get it, they tend to have the glue smell, but
Right.
it smells good. It smells like it's got a slight coffee quality, maybe like a port wine, somewhere with those two things. I would say.
All right.
I mean, mine just smells of me, which smell obviously fantastic.
Excellent. All right, and then one more question from the internet. This one was
Uh-huh.
from Dempsey Leeds. He asks, "How delightful does it sound when playing Wonderwall?"
You can play Wonderwall on it, but it will self-destruct after 4 bars. Um, it just blows
Yes,
up.
yes, I can confirm that.
Yeah.
No, I cannot confirm that.
I wasn't sure whether it should self-destruct or just kind of um, emit poison through the strings. No, that's that's not even funny. Okay, but no, of course not. I love Oasis, and I'm joking. I am joking. I do. I'm from the north of England. I'm a certain age where Oasis were kind of my Sex Pistols, so I do love them. But yeah, you can play Wonderwall on it if you have to. If you have to.
All right. Well, that was the questions from the internet. John, is there anything else you want to leave us with on the JGM or anything that maybe we missed?
No, I mean, for me, it's something that I just really hope that people get to give it a try because my ambition with it is to do something for like the fingerstyle guitar world that I wanted to do for a long time. For many years, I wanted to kind of have a fingerstyle guitar that was available so that when people ask me what guitar they should buy, which is obviously something I get asked a lot, I can answer the question rather than just say, well, unless you can afford this like guy from this guitar from this luthier in Montreal or whatever that's really expensive. There's no guitar that's built for this style. And now I can say that there is a modern fingerstyle guitar that exists in stores on the internet or whatever. So that's for me is what I wanted to do. So I'm very grateful to have had the chance to help you guys do that too, because you wanted to do it too. So I'm really glad.
Yeah, and the feeling is mutual. I know I could speak for everybody, for the acoustic team and everybody here at Ibanez. I think I could speak for everybody when we say a huge thank you goes to John and his help and his guidance and his overall wisdom, enlightening us with his style of play and also his take on the acoustic guitar. John's a special player, and I think together we really created a very special instrument. And I would implore everybody who's interested in this model to contact your local or online Ibanez retailer, ask them about the JGM, when they can get one in, and put one in your hands. And it's one thing for John and I to be talking about it, but it's another thing to pick it up and try it out yourself. So I would strongly recommend everybody pick up your phone, call, check it out. And John is incredibly active on his social media, so let him know what you think once you play it, and we'll be watching as well. So, John, if that's it, I think we covered a lot here. And again, we can't give you enough gratitude. We're so excited to have you as part of the team. This was a long time coming. We worked really hard on this new project, and we're so excited to share it along with you, with everybody. And again, thank you very much. And it's
Well,
a true honor.
thank you guys. Thanks, Mike, and obviously, everybody at Ibanez, because I guess those guys will probably watch this. So just thanks to everybody, who at Ibanez, who I know and who I don't. The amount of just the way that I would send over an idea, and then you guys would send something back, and I was never told no. I was never told that can't be done. I was never said, and nobody ever said, oh, you need to compromise on that a little bit. This is like got to be an Ibanez. This has got to be a mainstream guitar. Nobody ever said that. It was always just incredible open-mindedness and patience. So it was really just such a great process.
Incredible. Thank you, Jon. Thank you again. We'll leave everybody with that. Thanks for everybody for watching. And yes, long live the JGM.
Yeah, I hope so.
Excellent.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Take care, Jon. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the end. That's all we have for you. I want to thank everybody for spending time with us and being a part of our NAMM 2021 experience. It's been a wild ride. I've enjoyed this very much, and I hope everybody got something from it. I want to take this last opportunity to thank all my colleagues at Hoshino. Thank you for all the support they've provided us in the last year. I want to thank all of our distributors and dealers for all the support they've provided us and the artists. And I also want to thank the artists involved one more time. For these sessions, we had Josh Smith, Martin Miller, Laurie Basilio, John Schofield, and today's guest was Jon Gomm. And I want to thank all of you again for being a part of this. I hope it's been a very weird year. So I hope that, at some point, if you're an Ibanez owner or whatever, I hope that you were able to find some solace during this crazy time with one of our products. We couldn't do anything that we do without your support. So again, thank you all from the bottom of my heart, and I know I speak for the rest of the Ibanez and Hoshino family in giving their thanks as well. Take care. Maybe see you next year in person, hopefully, but we'll see. Take care, everybody. Much love and respect. Bye-bye. Mike O signing off.